Unite's preliminary delivery manual for the rest and restore protocol. This is copyright Unite Health Volume 2, November 2024. The co-creators of the Rest and Restore protocol include Dr. Stephen Porges, PhD, the originator of Polyvagal theory, and the co-founder of Sonacea. Dr. Stephen W. Porges, PhD, is a distinguished university scientist at Indiana University, the professor of psychiatry at the University of North Carolina, and a professor emeritus at the University of Illinois at Chicago and the University of Maryland. He's published more than 400 peer-reviewed scientific papers and has been cited in more than 50,000 peer-reviewed papers and holds several patents involved in monitoring and regulating autonomic state. Anthony Gorey, BA Honors Music and Audio Innovator and co-founder of and CEO of Sonacea. Anthony Gorey is a music and audio innovator with over 20 years of experience in the music and entertainment industry. He's a co-founder of and CEO of Sonacea, a company that develops health and wellness technology rooted in scientific principles, which he co-invented with Dr. Porges. Introducing Rest and Restore Protocol. Rest and Restore Protocol, RRP, is a new advancement in listening therapies designed to support healing, restoration, and homeostasis. It is used primarily to promote deep relaxation, recovery, balance in the body and mind, and connection to self, cultivating interoception and self-regulation. Developed by Dr. Stephen Porges and Anthony Gorey, a neuroscientist and a music and audio innovator, RRP is informed by decades of research studying physiological rhythms in the body, including heart rate, respiration, blood pressure, and digestion, alongside deep knowledge of advanced sound technology. This scientifically engineered acoustic signal and music support deep relaxation and optimal recovery for clients. Using endogenous biological rhythms embedded in a unique musical themes, Rest and Restore Protocol, RRP, provides a tool to signal the healing functions of the autonomic nervous system, to gently move into biobehavioral states of calmness and relaxation. RRP is a Sonacea enhanced product exclusively available through Unite Health. It is designed to be delivered by certified providers and integrated within a therapeutic process. The science and mechanisms. The nervous system. A regulated nervous system is foundational to our physical and psychological health and well-being. The central nervous system includes our brain and spinal cord, and the peripheral nervous system includes our somatic and autonomic nervous systems. The primary role of the autonomic nervous system, ANS, is to keep us alive, especially in response to stress. The ANS regulates essential bodily processes, including heart rate, breathing, and digestion. It operates below our conscious awareness, meaning it's working without us having to think about it. The vagus nerve, CNX, plays an important role in our ANS, communicating information between brain and body. While working well, our nervous system responds to stress at the just right level, efficiently using internal resources to support homeostasis. However, exposure to chronic stress can change how the nervous system regulates our bodily functions and limits our ability to engage socially and think clearly. Historically, the ANS has been described as having two subdivisions and antagonistic functions: the sympathetic fight or flight and parasympathetic rest and digest states. Polyvagal theory developed by Dr. Stephen Porges, recognizes a hierarchical autonomic nervous system that's evolved to help us survive through communication, connection, and collaboration. Polyvagal theory describes three primary physiological states of the autonomic nervous system, guided by a ventral and dorsal division of the vagus nerve. The ventral vagal parasympathetic social engagement system state is the gateway to social connection and learning. In this state, we can co-regulate and connect with others and are available for health, growth, and restoration. The sympathetic mobilized state is one of activation and action. This state coordinates our defensive mobilization and response and enables us to fight or flee. In this state, we're on high alert and challenged to connect with others and less access to higher cognitive functions. The sympathetic state can also have adaptive qualities. When we feel safe, this state can feel energetic, playful, and motivating. The dorsal vagal parasympathetic immobilized state is one of shutdown or collapse as a last-ditch attempt at survival, when the sympathetic state is ineffective for defense. In this state, we are disconnected and collapsed and experience feelings of hopelessness and helplessness. The dorsal vagus can also have healing qualities that help us restore our internal resources and heal following illness, injury, trauma, and other stressors. When we feel safe, dorsal can be experienced as blissful, dreamy, tranquil, and meditative. While each state has unique qualities, they exist on a continuum. We often experience blended states, where a pattern of response is influenced by more than one state. This includes experiences of play, freeze, and stillness. Play can arise when sympathetic energy is counterbalanced by the presence of ventral energy. Freeze emerges from the congruence of both sympathetic and dorsal. Stillness can be experienced when ventral and dorsal energy are both active and proportional. Physiological state affects emotions, behavior, and cognition. It biases perception of our environment and prepares us to be either welcoming or defensive towards other people and situations. The better we can regulate our states and the more flexibly and smoothly we can move between them, the better our health, physical, emotional, and mental will be. You can learn more about polyvagal theory and the work of Stephen Porges, PhD, at stephenporges.com or visit thepolyvagalinstitute.org. Music and health. The science behind Rest and Restore Protocol and associate enhanced technology builds upon the rich evidence behind music-based interventions. Therapeutic applications in music and sound have expanded tremendously in recent years, evidenced by institutions like the National Institute of Health calling for ongoing funding opportunities and conferences to enhance music and health research. Listening is built into our nervous systems based on a biological imperative to socially engage with others and respond to cues in our environment. Porges, 2001. We know music has a transformative impact on the brain. Music-induced neuroplastic changes can lead to functional improvements in emotions, behavior, sensation, and cognition. Music-based interventions have been found to promote the forming of new neurons and dendritic spine growth. Music-induced changes can improve communication between neurons and adapt brain region responses to sensory input, such as motor, speech, and auditory processing changes. Music can also promote neurochemical changes, dopamine and serotonin, which lead to better mood regulation, emotional processing, learning, memory, and motivation. Further, music has a direct influence on autonomic state. Music listening helps modulate the stress response by balancing the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal HPA axis, resulting in lower cortisol and blood glucose levels. Several studies show reduced physiological markers of stress, heart rate, blood pressure, respiratory rate, hormone regulation, and improved heart rate variability, HRV, following music-based interventions. Music-based interventions is a broad term referring to any application of music in therapy. Listening therapies describe the use of specific sound qualities alongside a therapeutic process that centers the client's participation in the experience, such as unites evidence-based programs. There is overwhelming clinical evidence behind therapeutic application in music. Music-based interventions improve quality of life, social functioning, mental health, sleep, stress, communication, and memory. In PTSD, music-based interventions have been found to reduce trauma-related symptoms, anxiety, depression, and dissociation. In addition to improving emotional regulation, communication, and connection, listening therapies are an evidence-based approach to supporting individuals with autism, with demonstrated benefits that include improved listening, autonomic regulation, motor, speech, and executive functions, memory and attention, mental health, and well-being. Compared to traditional talk therapies considered top-down, music is a universal language that can increase accessibility in mental health care across cultures. Patients with PTSD who were previously unresponsive to other therapeutic interventions show improvements following music-based interventions. Further, refugees who incorporated music into their therapeutic treatment had higher participation in therapy and better outcomes compared to standard therapeutic care. Understanding the acoustic parameters. Rest and Restore Protocol, RRP, is a Sonosia enhanced. It's a patent-pending innovative technology that uses acoustic parameters that go beyond traditional sound design, integrating the scientific knowledge of endogenous biological rhythms with the nervous system's proclivity to be entrained through rhythmic stimulation. This approach incorporates in the acoustic stimulation the visceral rhythms of bodily organs. You can learn more about Sonosia technology by visiting www.sonosia.com. There are several key principles that underlie the science and mechanisms of RRP. Tempo. The dynamic tempo changes in RRP are designed to engage the user's autonomic nervous system and related visceral organs, particularly via the vagus nerve. This can have profound effects on the user's biobehavioral state and emotional well-being. The dynamic tempo changes, carefully tuned to physiological rhythms, stimulate both the dorsal and ventral vagal complexes. Ventral vagal complex. This part of the autonomic nervous system is responsible for facilitating calm states and positive emotional regulation. By synchronizing sound with the body's natural rhythms, example, breathing and blood pressure, RRP enhances parasympathetic activation, helping users move into a more restful state in which the brain and body form a more coherent state of co-regulation. RRP promotes a sense of safety, relaxation, and connection without recruiting the motor behaviors related to social engagement. Dorsal vagal complex. For users who may be stuck in a state of dorsal vagal activation, characterized by shutdown or immobilization, the subtle rhythmic entrainment of RRP can help guide the system into immobilization without fear, a state that enhances homeostatic functions of health, growth, and restoration. By synchronizing the dynamic modulation of acoustic parameters embedded in RRP with the user's physiology, RRP is designed to gently re-engage the body's endogenous visceral rhythms, restoring energy and alleviating feelings of dissociation or overwhelm. Modulating sympathetic arousal. The nervous system constantly monitors the environment for signals of safety or threat. By incorporating the dynamic rhythmic modulation of acoustic parameters, RRP can help reduce sympathetic arousal, which in turn lowers stress responses like elevated heart rate and blood pressure. In addition, it's designed to repurpose and integrate the energetic aspects of sympathetic excitation with parasympathetic mechanisms. These can be expressed as playfulness, exuberance, enthusiasm, and optimism. This process encourages a shift from heightened states of alertness, fight or flight, towards more balanced and restorative state, helping the body return to its natural baseline. Enhancing vagal tone and overall resilience. Regular use of RRP through its entrainment of physiological rhythms may help increase vagal tone, a marker of autonomic flexibility and resilience. Higher vagal tone is associated with better emotional regulation, improved stress recovery, and an enhanced ability to adapt to life's demands, fostering a more resilient nervous system. Entrainment. Entrainment is a key component of RRP's impact. Entrainment is a biological phenomenon in which adjacent rhythms gradually fall into synchrony. The ebb and flow of the rhythms embedded in RRP facilitate the process of entrainment by bringing natural and physiological rhythms into homeostatic synchronization. When our bodies are in states supporting homeostasis, the endogenous rhythms of the body appear to be expressed with higher amplitude and more structured rhythmicity. In contrast, when we're stressed or ill, the rhythms are expressed with a lower amplitude and may drift into a more chaotic, random pattern. Frequency. The frequency spectrum of RRP dynamically changes throughout the program. This variability aims to create a balance between grounding the individual and gently stimulating areas of the brain that facilitate relaxation and focus. As the frequency bands shift, they support the vagal regulation of internal organs, fostering relaxation, supporting health, growth, and restoration, and improving emotional well-being. This process aids in reducing stress, enhancing resilience, and facilitating a deeper sense of tranquility. Other acoustic parameters. Acoustic parameters such as timbre, intensity, and rhythm are carefully adjusted to enhance the calming effects. Subtle variations in these elements help maintain engagement without causing overstimulation, which enhance the therapeutic effectiveness of the program. Rest and Restore Protocol. Program structure and description. RRP is structured into 10 tracks, 30 minutes each. The acoustic parameters become more complex and neurophysiologically challenging as the listener progresses. The first track introduces the musical theme without embedding attributes of endogenous biological rhythms. The objective of the introduction track is for the client to become familiar with the theme and reduce any anticipatory feelings of uncertainty. This allows the provider to assess the client's sensitivity and prepare the client for the full experience. The remaining 9 tracks are divided into 3 levels. Each level increases in complexity. The acoustic parameters of RRP are embedded into musical themes, starting with Spring's Prelude. Further themes are in development and will be created with an identical algorithm. However, each musical theme will be characterized by a unique composition and arrangement using Sonetzia's unique and novel recording techniques and innovative technology. Intake and assessment. The intake process is the opportunity to get to know the client and better understand their needs and readiness to participate in the program. Throughout the intake process, we holistically consider the following factors: client presentation, overall health, influence of trauma, and sensory differences. Autonomic patterns, regulatory capacity and ability to self and co-regulate, access to support and resources, the strength and stability of social supports, and access to external resources such as medical care, food, shelter, and physical safety.